Yo, Beast Bros, we're gonna talk about 5 things that you can do to reduce your load off of your back on your next backpacking excursion. And stick around with me till the end. I'm gonna share one more little thing that you may not even have thought of as being an option that'll shave literal pounds off of your back. So let's get into it. All right, now I know a lot of you guys like to get out on the trail and prepare these really big, fancy gourmet meals and all, and that's great, but preparing meals like that has its place. In my opinion, it's not when you're hiking. When you're hiking, you're there to go hiking and to see the scenery, not have a gourmet 5-star meal. So, if you haven't considered it already, maybe consider having some more lightweight food options, like dehydrated meals or those freeze-dried meals that you can have. They taste really great. They're perfect for short excursions. They're really lightweight. And an even bigger point is you don't need so much cookware in order to prepare them. All you really need is something like this. This is a 750 milliliter titanium pot, cooking pot, mug. You can boil water in it. You can actually cook solid foods in it if you need to. It has a handle, you can use it to drink out of. It's a multi-purpose item. It's made out of titanium, so it's nice and strong. I've dropped this several times already, and it's still in good shape. So this is really all you need. So your titanium is usually the lightest. It's also one of the strongest, and it is very heat conductive. It's much more heat conductive than aluminum and some of the other metals that you can get. So it disperses the heat out better. It's less likely to burn or have hot spots in the bottom. So it's a really good option to have. So your bigger cook sets could be as much as 34 ounces. This titanium 750 mil is 4.5 ounces. So when compared to a set like that, you're gonna save 29.5 ounces off your pack by going with this. We're not including the meals in that. That's just the cookware versus this. So that's a great way to get some load off your back. All right, now I know you're gonna need something to eat with. You don't wanna be using your hands to eat, especially if you're gonna be going with dehydrated meals or freeze-dried meals. You need a good utensil. You can find a lot of these things online where they're multi-tool type utensils and all, and they're great and all, but when you're backpacking and talking about weight, a lot of these versions I'm finding online and I've used in the past are as much as 5 ounces or even more in some cases. If you're going with freeze-dried options and you just need something to eat with, I highly recommend getting something like this. This is a titanium spoon, which makes it very lightweight, and it's a spoon and a fork, so it's like a spork, so you can use it either way. And it's also got an elongated handle on it, so if you are using a freeze-dried meal, you can really dig deep down into the pack and get all that food out without getting your whole hand inside there and getting all messy. So that's a real plus right there. The ones you're finding online are, like I said, was 5 ounces or so. This thing right here is 0.6 ounces. You're gonna save 4.4 ounces off your back by going with something like this. Now, when it comes to actually cooking in your fuel and heat source to cook with, like I say, I usually just need this as a pot. You're gonna need some sort of fuel source. I recommend getting one of the smaller cans like this. They do make them even smaller if you need to. And something this size is more than enough to get you through 3 or 4 days of backpacking, of breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and even snacks if you got them. So anyway, something like this is about all you're gonna need. And all the retailers out there, the big box retailers, are gonna tell you, you need something like this, okay? Which has everything you need to mount this thing on here and then put this on here and all that. But we can get rid of most of this. A lot of this stuff is just really not necessary, and it even comes in cases and bags and stuff. Not necessary. You can get rid of all of this and just use something like this, a little mini burner. It just screws right onto the top of your fuel source like this. And then you can set your pot right on top of it like that. And you're gonna save a ton of weight by ditching all of this and just having this in its place. So the popular ones out there right now are Jet Boil, and this is a fire maple, but typically they're pretty much about the same. A set like this is gonna be about 13.1 ounces, just over 13 ounces. Whereas if you go down to a little pocket stove like this, we're talking about 0.6 ounces, barely over a half an ounce for this. So once again, bunch of weight off your back. All right, this one might be a controversial one for you. And I know I had trouble with this one because you know how I like my big kookery, right? Well, when you're backpacking, there's really not gonna be much chance that you're gonna need a huge axe or machete style thing. You're there to go walking and enjoying the scenery. You're not gonna be processing firewood. Unless you're planning on doing some serious hardcore bushcrafting while you're out there, you don't need a machete or a big old knife. Really, when I go, I usually bring this. This is just my go-to little pocket knife that I go to. And for most backpackers, especially the ultralight guys, they're gonna say even this is overkill. You can get some much smaller knives that are gonna take care of anything you could possibly need on the trail when you're backpacking. They make some of these smaller little Swiss Army knives like this that, man, they've got a good knife in there. Sometimes they have little scissors and a file and a few other things. Really, that's all you're really gonna need on a backpacking trip. So save yourself the effort. Get that thing off your back. Some of these like big Rambo knives or your survival type knives that you use for bushcrafting, I've got one that's it's almost 30 ounces. I think it came out to 29.6 ounces. Whereas you can get one of these little Swiss Army guys that are like little half an ounce, 0.7 ounces. So you're gonna save 28.9 ounces just by switching off to a smaller knife. Do yourself a favor, get that weight off your back. All right, last but not least, let's talk about water. Water is a big one. Now I know, once again, all these retailers are gonna love to sell you something like this, one of these Camelbacks. And these things are great, but they have their place. And you know, while you can use something like this for backpacking, they can tend to be a little cumbersome and difficult to deal with. And quite frankly, they're kind of heavy. Just this and all this hose and these clips and all this stuff, this weight adds up when you're on the trail. Another thing is when you're trying to fill these, oftentimes you'll fill it up and you'll put it down in your backpack. I know my pack has a special pouch for it in there. And once you get it in there and run this hose all through the outside of it, then once you drink the water down, everything else in your pack is pressing it in there. So the only way to fill it back up is to remove it completely from the bag, fill it up, and then you're trying to stuff it back in your bag while your bag is full, and that can be very difficult. So not only is it gonna add weight to your pack, but it's also gonna add difficulty and time when you're trying to fill up water. So you can get rid of something like this and just go buy yourself 3 or 4 smart water bottles. They come in liter sizes, and those things are much more lightweight than your big Camelbacks, and they're a lot more versatile. You can carry as much or as little water as you need. If you know where your next water source is going to be, maybe you don't need 4 liters of water. Maybe you keep 2 of those empty and only fill up 2. You can also fill them up with dirty water if you want, and just filter straight out of the bottle if you want to do that. You know, that's always an option. Those Camelbacks, just by themselves with no water in it, 12.3 ounces. Whereas if you carry smart water bottles, 4 of those things is going to be like 3.6 ounces. So you can see right there, even carrying 4 of those smart water bottles, way less. You're going to save about 8.7 ounces just by switching what you carry your water in. Plus, those things are a lot more easier to get to. You can keep them in your outside pockets of the pack, and you can grab them and all this kind of thing when you're going, when you're trying to fill up. You're just not having to deal with this hose and it getting in your way and all that stuff. It's easier, it saves space, I believe, and much more versatile. Get that weight off your back. All right, now I did tell you I was gonna give you one more bonus thing that you might not have thought about. Talking about the clothes you wear. There's no need in hiking, if you're just going on a 2 to 4 day trip, to bring a ton of clothes with you to change into. I mean, on a normal hiking trip, over the course of a few days, you're gonna get dirty. You're gonna stink, okay? You just need to embrace the stink and get over it. Everybody that's with you is gonna stink too. So you're not the only one, all right? So if you can get over that and get the rest of those clothes out of there, the only clothes that you really need to bring with you, other than the clothes that are on your back, is an extra pair of underwear and an extra pair of socks. And other than that, get rid of everything else. You might bring one of those lightweight sports towels just in case you need to dry up, or if you want to wash off a little bit in a river or something like that, bring a little towel. Other than that, I'd leave the rest of it at home. Another part to this is you want to be very mindful of the type of clothes that you're wearing. Cotton is a no-go. Never wear cotton when you're hiking. It's too heavy, it absorbs water, it just, when you sweat, it just stays on you and makes you wet. So it's just not really good for that. If you wear some polyesters, some dry fit type sports clothing, all that kind of stuff is gonna be more antimicrobial. It's gonna breathe a little better and allow that water to dissipate off of you, so you don't keep that wetness up against your body, and it's more lightweight, so it's way better for backpacking. Between the jeans and shirts, if you're just talking about 2 days of clothes, some jeans, some shirts, some underwear, socks, that sort of thing, that's all adding up to about, you can, I weighed some of this stuff and got up to about 5 pounds for just 2 to 3 days worth of clothes. That's 5 pounds. You get rid of that, just get you a couple pairs of socks, get that down to about less than half a pound even for some socks and some underwear, then you're literally taking 5 pounds of weight off your back. Why carry it if you don't have to? Get it off your back. Now, if you implement all of these ideas, you're gonna get a total weight reduction of 163 ounces. That's 10.2 pounds off of your back. You're welcome. All right, thanks guys. We really appreciate you watching. And if you enjoy this type of content, be sure and let us know by hitting the like button down there. And if you haven't already subscribed to our channel, now would be a great time to go ahead and do that as well. It really helps us to get our channel moving. And also, while you're in there, check out those playlists. We've got it all sorted out so that you can get to the type of content that you're looking for real quick and easy. So we're BeastMode Camping, and we will see you next week.